In this demonstration, we're going to look at PowerShell desired state configuration to configure a Microsoft Exchange server. The reason behind all of this allows us to automate the tasks. We can do this across a number of servers. Not only will desired state configuration allow us to configure the server, we can also use it as well to identify configuration drift and then fix that configuration drift. So in this demonstration, first thing we're going to do is we're just going to launch up a PowerShell script that's already been written. So we'll open it up. I'm just going to go to our C drive, go to our lab files, and all we're going to do is just launch up exercise 2 task 1. We'll open this up. So what we're going to do with this script is we're going to configure lon-ex1. We're going to put in username and password information, so we're going to pass that through from a login. So we're going to take the username and the password, store it in plain text, which we should never really do in a production environment. What we're going to use this script for is we're going to use this script to configure the AWS component or Exchange Web Services, and what we're actually using this for is to specify the external URL will equal https://mail.datum.com and then the rest of the URL. We're going to import all of the Exchange Management commands as well that we'll require from the Exchange Management shell in order to run that configuration. And we're going to pass in information relating to username and password, and we're going to create some variables based off the configuration data as well. So the first thing we need to do is just create a managed object file, and we'll do that by running the script. It doesn't take too long for the script to run, so it's just going to go through, and what it will do is in the C:\DSC folder, what it's going to do, it's going to create a file for configuring our Exchange server through PowerShell DSC. It's now prompting us to log in as administrator with the password, pass our credentials to the script by using our username and password. So we'll just enter in our administrator username and password. Now we've done that, we'll just select OK. Script is now run, so let's just go to our C drive. In our C drive, what we now have is our DSC folder, and in our DSC folder we have our lon-ex1 mof file. We'll just open that up, and we're just going to open that up with Notepad. So what we're going to do with this managed object file is we're going to use this to configure on our Exchange server the external URL. So that's what we're going to use. So we'll close that down, get rid of that, and all we'll do is we'll just move this up a bit so we can see the screen a little bit better. We'll just get rid of these commands again just so we can see the screen a little bit better. We haven't configured the server yet with PowerShell DSC, so the first thing we'll do here is we'll just identify what the external URL is currently set to, and we'll do that by just issuing the PowerShell commandlet. I'll just clear that screen off to make it a little bit easier to read, and then we'll type in the commandlet. So the commandlet we're going to use is if we scroll this back, we're going to use the get-web services virtual directory. We're going to do that on lon-ex1. We're going to pipe that. We're going to select the identity, basic authentication, Windows authentication, and importantly for us, the external URL, and we'll just format the list off. So we'll just run that. And that will return back the information that we've requested. And what we should see is that the external URL is currently set to blank. So as you can see, external URL is currently blank. So now let's use our PowerShell desired state configuration, and what we'll do is we'll use it to configure this external URL. So again, we'll just type in the commandlet to do that. So what we're going to use at this point here, we're going to use the start-DSC configuration, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to pull in the mof file, and what we're going to do is we're going to do that against computer name lon-ex1. So we'll hit the enter key. And as you can see, it's starting to run through. Now this does take just a couple of minutes just for this to run through. So at this point here, we'll just pause the presentation and return back once the script is ran. Script's now ran. As we can see here, mail.datum.com, AWS exchange.asmx. So we can see at this point here, it has actually added in that virtual directory, but we'll just clear the screen off. Again, just make it a little bit easier to read. And then what we'll do is we'll just repeat the commandlet that allowed us to have a look at that list. And as we can see, we now do have https mail.datum.com, AWS exchange.asm, so we know that desired state configuration has configured the server. But what we'll do, again, we'll just clear the screen off, and the last thing we'll do is we'll just run a commandlet, and what this commandlet will allow us to do is test the DS configuration, and we're going to do that against lon-ex1. And we now see the important word true. So what we've done at this point here is we've used the Windows PowerShell desired state configuration to configure our Exchange server Yes, I've only done it against one server, but this is just a demonstration. So imagine in your organization you have multiple servers. The advantage of using PowerShell desired state configuration is to allow us to script the configuration of our servers, but also as well another thing, as we've already mentioned, desired state configuration can also be used to identify and fix config drift. And that's the end of this demonstration. Thank you.